Okay, so today we are going to attach the prod to a crossbow. This is something you need to know for maintenance on your crossbow, and this is how I do it. Now, each crossbow prod is made with these tassels coming off. You sink those over here, but first thing you do, you get your cord, you run your cord through the eye hole here, up into the little notch up top here. And then what you do, you put your prod on and you pull your tassels down so they run down along the length of your prod. This will be important later. Next, you use your 15-foot cord that you've already locked in place up here. You run it over, you pull it down, and then you run it back through, like so. So it's going through the hole, and then you do the same on the other side. And that, you want to get this as close to the edge as possible, and what that does for you is ensure that it stays in place when you're doing your tighter wrappings later. So everything's tucked in place, nice and cinched up. Now what you're going to do is with your cord like that, you cross it over in front, wrap around, and then cross it back over. So you have a cross here, like so. And then we run it through, and you do the exact same thing on the other side. So up, over, crisscross, wrap, and crisscross back over. And that is what you use to lock it in place. You can see here that you have the crisscross going across there. Now, this is where we start wrapping. So what you do, you run this underneath, back through the hole, so it's through the hole, and now we go over one last time. Make sure you lock the prod in place with this, and what you want to do is reach under the first, or over the first set and under the second set of cords, like so, and then wrap it over, and then wrap it under, like so. This is where you want to get it real nice and tight, because the tighter you get this, the less often you have to replace it. So you wrap it, you work your way down, you do this about 10 or 12 times. And you keep going, keeping this as tight as you can, as far as you go down. Now the purpose of this is this tightens the strings on the prod, and that holds everything in place for when you're shooting. If you don't do it tight enough, the prod will rotate as you shoot, and that can be problematic. Now I'm using 550 paracord. You can use other materials My understanding is that rawhide cord actually will give you an almost permanent wrap, but it's rather expensive, and if you don't have a Tandy leather nearby, it's kind of hard to come by. But as you can see, we're getting down here. It gets tighter and tighter as it goes. And we just keep it tight. Keep wrapping. You want to make it nice and neat. Nice and neat. Keep working it. Until you get down here. I guess it is, well, it doesn't matter how many wraps you do. It's going to be the number of wraps you need to get down to the bottom until it's too tight to keep adding wraps. And I'm getting real close there. I'd say I can do 2 more wraps. Okay, and see how that locked in place on the bottom. Now what you're going to do, you run the remaining cord through the hole, you tighten it up, you take it over the top, and you repeat what you did before. Over the closest set, under the next set, and then all the way around. Now this side is harder to do than the other side because this side is already tightened from the other side being tightened up. So it'll take a little bit to get it and get all the cord under there, make your bundle. Get everything nice and tight, nice and cinched up. And again, the tighter you make this now, the less trouble it'll be later. So we just tighten it up. But as you can see, that little tassel that comes off of the prod gets wrapped into the bundle here. And by doing that, that locks the prod in better than just lashing it on its own. I find if you tuck it in and pull on the excess, you can usually get the cord through. Though, like I said, it is harder on this side than it is on the other side. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting it down here. Still got a ways to go, but as you get to the middle, it gets a little bit easier because you have better leverage. Okay, so we're getting down to the bottom here. We get the last 2, maybe 3 wraps in. I think this one's going to be the last one because I can't get it through. Okay, I'm going to get one more in there, but it's going to be a beast. Okay, 1. And that's it. Okay, so this remaining bit here, what you do, you work it in, and then you tuck it under like so, cinch it down, back through, do the same, dig it in, get as much of it as you can under. And once you've got it twice through, you start folding it over, you tuck it in, and basically you don't want to cut any cord off because that gives you cord to work with later, so you work it in until it's kind of a plug in the hole in here. And you just push it in there and it'll stay in by friction. And there you have it. You're all set.